Hey YouTube, I wanted to wrap up the Canon 77D versus X-T20 video. In my review of the X-T20, I told you at the end that I was going to compare the two and that ultimately I was going to need to get rid of one. And I wanted to give you let you know which one I was keeping and why. I did this whole drawn out video test and photo test with both of them. I shot a bunch of pictures, I shot a bunch of videos of myself and other things. And the idea was I was going to show side-by-sides, and it was going to be a color versus color, sharpness versus sharpness, that sort of thing. However, after shooting that video, I've made my decision based on other grounds. So I will use those clips in this video, but I wanted to just let you know that this is going to be ultimately what I share through. And without any further ado, I will be keeping the Canon 77D. There's a couple of reasons why. I want to give three main reasons why I ultimately chose this camera over the Fuji X-T20. The first, the biggest, was price. For the camera I have here, the body I have here, and the three lenses I use, that is this 50mm f1.8 prime lens, I have an 18 to 135mm kind of all around lens, and then I have a 10 to 18mm wide angle lens. For those three lenses and this body, I spent about $900, and all this is used pricing because at this point this is a 2-year-old body, and then the lenses they've all been out for at least 2 years. So $900 full investment, that's a lot of money, but I have a very wide range of 10 to 135mm covered, and then I have a nice portrait lens like this. That's what I shot the intro with on this. So $900, that's kind of the baseline for me. With the Fuji, if I wanted the same wide angle lens, 18 to 135 range covered, and then also the portrait lens, I would end up spending somewhere around $2,000, including the body. And that's used pricing. I'll list that out here. And they're incredible lenses. They all have great quality. If you saw my review of the Fuji, the 18 to 55mm lens that I had with it was a very, very nice lens. It had that low f-stop and did a lot of great things in low light. So all that to say, you get a great quality package with the X-T20 for about double the price. And for me, as an amateur that has no intention of shooting professionally, no intention of making large amounts of money off this, I have no reason to have $2,000 worth of gear to do almost the same job as this. Second big reason why I went with the Canon over the Fuji, usability. And this comes back to the video I shot. So I shot, like I said, this comparison video between the two, and here's this scene shot in the Canon versus the Fuji, and what about this picture on each one. And what I noticed when I went back to review my footage is what I've had issues with in the past happened, and that is, first of all, focus issues, second, framing issues. So I'm usually on this side of the camera if I'm filming something at least some point in the video. Maybe it's not the whole time, but a lot of what I do is talking to the camera, either for my job or for these videos on YouTube. So to be on this side of the camera, having a flip screen is essentially a necessity. I see no reason not to have that on a camera. I see no reason why manufacturers haven't included that in some sort of way. Everybody vlogs, everybody shoots himself. The Fuji had the vertically folding screen so you can shoot below or above, but you cannot accurately shoot on this side of the camera and also make sure you're framing and also make sure you're in focus and all those things. So usability in general, affected by the flip screen, affected by focus issues. And by that I mean, yes, the Fuji has 4K. I talked about this in the review. Yes, the Fuji has 4K. It looks fantastic. I'll put clips here that compare the two. I was consistently, during this review, more impressed with the Fuji image when it was in focus, when I was framed right, when I had the settings on the camera right. And more often than not more often than not, but a very large percentage of the time, those things did not fall in line. Either I would have the framing off, I'd be off to one side and I couldn't see myself, so I'd have to shoot the same scene 5 times to make sure I was in the right spot, or I'd be out of focus, falling in and out of focus the whole time. It has that 4K like I was talking about, but it does not have face tracking when you're in 4K, so you basically have to set the focus point and hope that it finds you and keeps you, and as you see here, it did not do that well. So there are a lot of shots that were either ruined or became evidence of the issues I'm having with it. And then finally, with the usability thing, this Canon functions as a tool. I see it as a tool that I can pick up and make the content I want to make. I use this to make the things I want to make. It's great, nothing fancy about it. It's got dials where dials need to be. It's got a touch screen, all these things that make this easier to use. The Fuji is like a fine art piece. It has the top dials, it has the metal construction, it has the very slim feel, it has the very slim size, and all that plays up to something that's very pleasant to hold. It's pleasant to take some time and line up your shot and get things just how you want it, and then shoot the photo or start the video or whatever. But it is not a great run and gun, it's not a great set it and forget it kind of item. It is something that needs attention, it needs a lot of input to get output, to get quality content from. And that's where I was really getting frustrated as I shot this comparison video, is I would constantly be readjusting things, or oh, I just shot a picture, so now I need to switch all my settings because I switched to video mode, but video mode doesn't save my settings for video mode. Whereas the Canon, I'm consistently just really impressed with how easy it is to pick up, shoot your scene. You got the focus box around your face, you got the flip screen to make sure you're framed, and you know that whatever I just shot is going to be all right. It may not be as pretty, it may not be as technically perfect as the Fuji is, but it's going to be something quality that will work for you. So usability is thing number 2 that is important. Thing number 3 that was really important to me is, I'm going to call it ecosystem. So when you talk about a Canon camera, you're talking about the #1 manufacturer, the #1 company that is in existence with photography today. And what that means is that you have plenty of lens selection, you have plenty of aftermarket selection, you have plenty of used selection. There are Canon options for basically everything at basically any price point. For example, the wide angle lens for this camera, I got used for 180 bucks. If I wanted the same range covered roughly on the Fuji, I'd spend about $800, $900. And that is the difference between a market that's saturated with product and a market that is very reserved, or very small market that keeps prices up. So Fuji has great stuff, but their stuff is more expensive and it's harder to find, and that swayed me again toward the Canon. And kind of on that point, if you want a simple comparison between the two, or a simple explanation of why one is better in certain ways than others, I really think of Canon cameras as kind of like the iOS operating system for phones, Apple phones, versus the Fuji being an Android phone. The Canon is something you pick up, you can use it, just about anybody can pick up an iPhone. It's very intuitive, everything's very straightforward. It's more restricted, it's more simplistic, it doesn't do quite as many things, it doesn't do quite as many technical things, but your iPhone's gonna take the video you wanna take, or send the text you wanna send, or download the file you wanna download, whatever. And it's just gonna do it simply. Whereas an Android phone, like the Fuji, you can pick up, you can do a lot more with it. There's some very intricate things, there's some very technically complex things that it can do, but it takes more user input, it takes more effort, it takes more time to do those things. And every time I upgrade phones, I end up switching from one to the other because I see an Android feature I like, or I see an iPhone feature I like, and every year I end up switching, or every time I upgrade, I end up switching back because I remember, oh, that was so cool, or that was so nice, or that was so easy. But ultimately, what I need for this particular aspect of life, for my videos, for my photography, is something that is a great tool to pick up and use without much input. So Fuji is a fantastic camera. The whole Fuji lineup, they're great cameras, they do some great things, and they have a lot of advanced features that are sort of, I'm sure that 5 years from now, Canon will have a lot of those features on their cameras as sort of a trickle-down thing. But because I'm an amateur, because I have no intention of profiting off of this, because I have no intention of spending hours and hours a day perfecting it, I want something that I can pick up and shoot with and get great results, even if they aren't just that little bit better like the Fuji can provide. So I hope that's helpful for you. If you're someone that doesn't know much about cameras, or if you're someone that is new to this, or you're just someone that knows a lot but doesn't have the time to commit to it, I would highly recommend the Canon ecosystem. The 77D is a great model. It has a lot of higher end features without the higher end price. And then the Canon lenses are going to be a lot easier for you to find. If you're really into the artistic thing, or maybe if you know that I only want one lens, or I only want to do this one specific thing with it and it's going to do that really well, then that's a great reason to shop Fuji, and you will not be disappointed. Just know that if you're on this side of the camera, if you're trying to do something quick or simply, the Fuji's just not going to live up to the same expectations as the Canon can provide. So I appreciate you watching. I hope this has been helpful. Comment below if you have any questions. Drop a like if you like this video. I hope, again, as I've said in past videos, I hope to bring some more content about what I do with my cameras, how I shoot certain things, and sort of teach you as I learn more myself. Thanks for watching. See ya.